Good morning, everybody. We are here at Cutta Cutta Caves. We're going to do a cave tour and check out what is in these caves. The ladies have said they have a fair few snakes in there at the moment, non-venomous snakes. They do go through just to double check before they let the tours come through. This is a guided tour, so you have to book. It's $30 an adult, and I think it was $19 for a child. So let's go and check this place out. Yeah, just around the corner a bit more. Yeah. I got dripped on. And the tail's up this end, its head's down the other end.
Alright, we've got everyone safe and sound. I'll just get everybody that's on the track to come back this way. We'll just stay on our platforms until you've had a guide go onto that track first, just in case there's any more wriggly ropes. Alright. Now, before I begin each tour, I always like to acknowledge the Jarwin people, the traditional owners of the land out here at Cutta, and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. A lot of people will ask, did the Jarwin people use this cave system? The simple answer is no, not really. And I'll show you why they didn't. You just turn the light off at the back there. You'll be able to see how dark the cave is without those lights on. I'll just get you to turn your light off there at the back if that's alright, just so we can see how dark the cave is without those lights on. Yeah, so as you can see, without the lights on in here, it's pretty dark. The only form of light the Jarwin people would have been a fire stick, and you can imagine how quickly this place would engulf in smoke. The same as if somebody farts on a tour, it wafts for about 3 to 4 days. So they didn't have the track, the lighting, the luxury of the stairs that we have today. It would have been quite daunting, as you can tell, clambering over those rocks there, not knowing what was lurking underneath, especially with 6 other large cave systems across the park here at Cutta that have a normal entrance, not one through the roof. We do have a cave system at the back of the park with some paintings and carvings in it, but it is considered a sacred site to the Jarwin mob, so we don't go over there. One thing that you will notice about this cave is we don't have extensive lighting compared to other caves you may have been in, with flashing lights and colours and all sorts of things going on. That's because we're trying to maintain a nocturnal ecosystem. So those caves that you've been in, potentially they are temperate caves. They sit between 9 to 12 degrees. This cave is a tropical cave, okay? So what happens in this cave, we've got the one entrance, one exit. Our air comes in, it gets heated up by the surrounding rock and it pushes to the back. At the back of the cave, the water table meets the atmosphere, the shallow pools of water sitting at the back of the cave there. That water's nice and warm because it's been heated up by the underground rock in the water table below us, which is about 30 metres deeper than what we're standing right now. Warm water with hot air above creates humidity. As we move through the cave today, at each platform you will notice a gradual increase in humidity. It isn't that nice escape from the NT heat you may have expected, and I apologise for that. Throughout the tour, I'm going to be front and centre the whole time, just to mitigate those snakes that we've got in here today, those ollie pythons. I'm not too worried about them at all. They're pretty harmless, or very harmless to us. Just ask one thing, as we move through the cave today, try and refrain from taking photos until we get onto the platforms. just because we've got quite a large group, lots of people standing on the track taking platforms holds the, on the track taking photos holds the whole group up, okay? But you'll have plenty of time on our platforms and on the way back out to grab photos. All right, I'll jump in front. So we've got this overhanging rock here. Be very careful that you don't hit your head on this one walking through. You've already done that. Are you all right?
We've already got it twice. So.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm all right.
All right, any guesses to what the rock is surrounding us? Limestone, yeah, that's right. The limestone surrounding us was formed in the middle of what they call the Cambrian period, around 505 to 590 million years ago. In the middle of the Cambrian period, this whole area was covered by a shallow sea. As that sea subsided, the mollusks, trilobites, stromatolites, anything with a calcium carbonate shell settled to the sea floor. The little animal inside perished, but the calcium carbonate shells and bones began to compress, layer upon layer under sediment, creating the limestone that's surrounding us today. However, it wouldn't be surrounding us like it is right now. If you can imagine one big limestone block with a crack through the middle of it, water has filled up within that crack year after year. Comes a weak form of carbonic acid. That then hits rotting vegetation on the ground above. And it makes those droplets 30% more acidic, allowing them to move through the limestone. As the droplets move through the limestone, they pick up other minerals, they lose CO2 and they come out as your calcium carbonate solution, carving out the top section of our cave and most importantly, giving us our formations. Anyone know what these pointy ones up here are? Stalactites. You guys can start tomorrow. So we've got our stalactites up here, the droplet from your stalactite. Now a bit of history about the cave. Jarvan people, they would have known about this cave for thousands of years. They hold their land very sacred, they wouldn't have been running around town telling everyone about it. First white fella to find a cave was in 1900. It was a man named Smith. Smith was driving his cattle from Madaraka through to Darwin, but he wasn't very good at his job. So these little bits in the new growth.
Oh, yeah.
Since 1942. It's a very long time ago.
Yeah, it's so thin
Yeah.
for so many years.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it's forming from the ground too.
Yeah. So
And
the
we're dripping
drip-
off.
Yeah, you can see them droplets
Yeah.
at the bottom there. And you do see them drip as well. Alright, let's go try the crew.
Yep.
So, waiting on us. You're going to see them again. Have to go back through this one.
What that is your cast limestone. Cast translates to lead. So the reason that rock is so jagged is because of the acidic rain eating away at that porous limestone. So your algae and your weathering can change the colour of that limestone at the top, but one thing that can also change is this ash and fire. That ash can then seep right down into our central ecosystem and stain our formation. You can see all that staining on top here. Can you see at the back over here, we've got this shawl just in the middle of it. And that's from the servicemen using that one as target practice. And then this one on the top over here.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
It's good.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see the crickets in there.
That must be the weird one I saw the other day.
Obvious reason, you've got the rib cage of the whale, the spine of the whale, and our second squeeze, the whale tonsils. Both will touch the walls of the whale tonsils, that's right.
Try not to fall.
You'll see me standing off to the side and I'm going to be shining on.
So you'll probably see it though.
Yeah.
If you keep a lookout. It's dripping on it. Yeah, maybe. Looks like
Just gonna take a while.
it. Yeah. It looks like it's almost there.
Yeah. There's a lot more of them. So they hang really long before they actually do drip.
After that, we had several other forms of life, including the Jurassic period. We know that it's had to fall in after the Cambrian period because our limestone block was already carving out. So who knows what could be perfectly preserved in amongst that petrified life. It's a really cool thought. This one here is called rimstone. Actually really beautiful. Okay, because of the oval surface, the droplets roll slowly, and as they precipitate, you get the ring to the rock. Okay, these down here, these are called rim pools. It's where the droplet has more movement between precipitation. At the back of the cave, those pools of the water table are massive big rim pools as wide as this platform, which is pretty cool. Alright, I did say I would explain the name Cutta Cutta. It's repeated twice. It means place of many. Have you heard of Wagga Wagga? Wagga Wagga, place of many crows. Lots of crows at Wagga. Jim Jim Falls here in the NT, place of many pandanus. Cutta Cutta has a beautiful little creation story that goes with the name. The Jarwin people have been kind enough to share their story with me so that I can share it with you. The story goes, the little bats, they are nocturnal. They leave the cave at night. When the bats leave the cave, they take all of the calcite crystals with them and they place them up into the night sky, giving us all of the stars. In the morning on daybreak, the little bats return to the cave and they place all of the stars throughout the cave. So Cutta Cutta Caves is placed many stars. Beautiful little name, solid upgrade from Smith's Cave. So we're stoked about that. Now it's going to get really hot. It's actually quite warm, especially up on that top platform. So we'll just cover a couple of things that we talk about up there. We will still go up there, and we just won't spend as long up there so we're not sweating. Once we get up to the top platform, we're going to be 15 metres underground, 250 metres in. The cave continues on for another 500 metres past that point. We don't go any further for good reason. Once you get past that point, once you get over the rocks at the top there, you feel like it's about 40 degrees. Continuing on, you're met with sinkholes. In some areas, they are 8 metres deep. You've also got the bat guano in masses that those bat droppings can apparently burn a hole in your lungs walking past them. It must be the ammonia. Continuing on to the pools of the water table. Once you get there, you're sitting between 95 to 98% humidity. It is extremely hard to breathe down there, especially if you've already got a hole in your lungs from the bat poo. We do have scientists going down there though. They're going down there because across the water table here in the NT, including the Cutta Cave, they found a little blind shrimp called a parousia. That parousia is a species of what they call stygofauna. The only other place it's been found besides our NT water table is in a tiny cave over in Madagascar. So it proves that Gondwana theory that once upon a time all our continents were connected. Now the main message that I want you to take away from this tour today is that this cave, it doesn't just support life here on the inside. It is intrinsically linked and it actually supports all of the life up on the outside as well. So we're going to head up to our last platform and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. We do have Smitty or maybe Mr. Burns looking down at us from the ceiling as well. It comes all the way down here. If you've got a hard surface below, you get a stalagmite growing upwards. We don't have many stalagmites in this cave and there's a good reason for that. If you have a look at the ground, mostly sediment. In 1880, 92% of the NT was pastoral land. To accommodate for that, they cleared a lot of the trees. Without the root systems there anymore, holding the sediment in place when the cave is flooded, all of that sediment has been flushed into the cave, covering up our hard surfaces. Alright? A couple of ways to remember your stalactite and your stalagmite. Your stalactite holds on tight, your stalagmite might get there one day. One of our male guides likes to say, mites go up and tights come down. So that's another little way to remember them. They are going to join together though eventually, aren't they? They're perfectly aligned. Over time they form this column-like structure you can see over the back here. Any guesses to what that one's called? That one's called a column. They didn't put any effort into that one at all, just a boring old column. Up above here we've got our shawls. Your shawls are formed differently. Starts out with a crack in the rock. In that wall there, the droplet rolls down and the shawls form outwards from the crack. So the droplet isn't rolling down the inside, it rolls down that sharp edge, forming the shawls outwards year after year. If we were in here about 6 or 7 million years ago, we would have been standing up here. This is actually a false floor, alright? 4 to 5 million years before that, up over here. We would have had a really nice view of those shawls. But actually we wouldn't have, they wouldn't have existed yet. So if you come back in a million years' time, where you're standing right now will completely cease to exist as that water table continues to overflow in our wet season, flooding the cave from the back to the front, eroding away the limestone surrounding us and below us. You would think after a million years' time we would be a lot lower down. We'd actually be under a metre lower. It's an extremely slow process. Even slower is the growth of our formations. And one of my main goals today is to have you leaving the tour really being able to feel how old everything is surrounding you. I'm down here a lot and I still struggle to comprehend that those walls are 500 million years old. It does make me feel nice and young though. Alright, we're going to go through our first squeeze now. I will jump in front.
This is not.
They're cool, mate. Yeah, we're pretty lucky to see them. Usually you can see one or live in here at a time, so we're pretty lucky to see 4 today. Hopefully we'll get to see that massive one at the front of the table on the way back out. He's huge. These guys are tiny compared to the big one.
Oh, cool. Stay here.
Oh,
Oh, there's 2 of them.
There's one at the back as well. At the back here. Hello, little guy.
yeah, on the back there.
Alright.
I'll leave his.
Alright, now as I said, cave floods and we've got a sediment floor and stuff. We
So
don't
like
really
the
see
dark
diving
fair bit,
shores,
do
so
they?
you wouldn't see anything,
Yeah.
right? The water's all dirty and murky. You wouldn't want to swim in the States anyway, would you? But we do have the benefit of the sediment. In this section we get a nice clear flood line. That's from a really, really decent flood. It's all dependent on the rainfall for each season. So sometimes we're not even up above the grid track, sometimes we're above the rails, it's all dependent. And yeah, when it gets this high, we do have an air bubble here, so it does fly higher in other sections to the point that you can't even walk in the front there. The water's right up to the very top of those stairs, which is pretty cool. Over the back here, you probably noticed our beautiful flowstone formation. Different on either side, looks a bit like Sia the singer or Neapolitan ice cream. For the little ones, maybe else has been in here, who knows. What's happening on this side, we've got our stalactites up above, they've been dripping down over the top, washing all that sediment off. On this side, we've got the boron column, completely blocks that process. The calcite crystals that you're looking at, they need a humid, dry environment to form. Now that completely contradicts itself, so I'll break it down. Your humid environment is your wet season. In your wet season, after the sediment has been washed away, the stalactites up above deposit a super thin layer like a skin of calcium carbonate over the top. The best way to describe that, sorry I really can't talk today, the best way to describe that is if you overheat a cup of milk or Milo in the microwave for too long, you get that little skin on top, super thin like that. We then get to the end of the wet season, the end of that humid environment known as our build-up, and that skin will harden. We then move into the dry season, the dry environment. All of the calcium carbonate within that hardened skin begins to precipitate. When it precipitates, it leaves you with the calcite crystals you can see there today. They are called precipitating calcite crystals. The further we move into the cave, the further we move into a humid, dry environment, the more crystals we will see and the brighter they will get. Now, if I was to take a pickaxe and chip away a little bit of calcite crystal for you all to take to take home as a souvenir, you'd be pretty annoyed at me about a week later. My boss would be pretty annoyed at me too. But you would be annoyed at me because you just have a clump of old rock, alright? The beauty of those crystals only exists within the cave's humid, dry environment. Once you take it out of that cave, they dry out and look like the front of the cave where we first walked in. Now I'm assuming this is off the hairy fruited banyan figs we get out here at Cutta. They're only found in 2 places in the NT. One of those places is here, so we're pretty lucky to have them. This one's not looking good though. Half petrified, very crumbly, there's a good chance it's going to fall through. If it does, it's going to be awesome for us. We're going to have airflow. We're not going to be sticky and sweaty. Not great for our bats. They need to maintain a temperature of 33 degrees to survive. If that fell through, our bats would leave the cave. Big problem if they do, they're the keystone species. Our bats come in here and they leave their bat droppings, the bat guano. That attracts 4 species of beetle into this cave that live on the guano and lay their larvae on it. Because you've got beetles, we get frogs, lizards and geckos. Because you've got frogs, lizards, geckos and bats, what do we get? Snakes, that's right, Greg and all his friends. So, if that fell through and the bats left the cave, the whole food chain in here would completely collapse. It's not very common to intervene in something that has occurred naturally. But because we do have species in here that are near threatened, and an ecosystem that is supporting all of that life up above, it's very likely that scientists would consider plugging that hole up to maintain the ecosystem supporting this life, both inside and outside the cave. If they don't do it, I'll give it a crack myself. Now, before we leave, the most important part of the tour, formations that look like things. Over the back here, we've got the hairy head of the dog. You got the hair of the dog, down to the snout, he's got a bone in his mouth. Other direction, it looks like a lion sitting down. Bushy tail of the lion, the back of the lion, and the mane in the ear at the front. Underneath, we have our melting croc, and she's going out on the town tonight. We've got the eye of the croc down to the snout, those teeth melting down. That big giant Monty earring in, ready for curvies. Over the back here, we've got our big red kangaroo. The ear of the kangaroo, the face of the kangaroo, the neck, the paws, the big back legs. And we've got little Australia couch underneath. Over here, we have our upside down cave dragon. We've got the nose of the dragon, the eye, the spikes on his head, his ear, right around to his tail there. And underneath him we have my favourite. We've got Elvis. You got Elvis's hair down to his sideburns and his ear. His forehead, his nose, his big lips and his chin there. So basically, the more time you spend in the cave, the more the humidity gets to, the more things you start to see. We're just down here a bit too often.
So that was a walk through the beautiful Cutta Cutta Caves. Absolutely beautiful spot. Highly recommend it. Tour guides were very knowledgeable of everything that was in there. We got to see 4 olive pythons in there as well, which was really good. Even the guides had said they've never seen 4 at once in there. So that was a great opportunity. And yeah, so come check this place out. It's about 45 minutes south of Katherine, just off the Stewart Highway. So yeah, we'll see you next time in another location.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just 2 hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be 2 hearts running wild. The morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. The laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just 2 hearts running. Never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be, we're gonna be 2 hearts running wild.
we are just about to cross back into Queensland, out of the Northern Territory. We will be heading up to Cape York next, up to Fruitbat Falls and Twin Falls, Elliot Falls. So stay tuned and check those ones out later on in a couple of months' time.